a lot. Is there any other stuff you want to say before like the disdain kicks in? Is there
Okay,
any other
well, so
friendly
the
side
other
stuff
the
you want
other
to say about it
thing that I
before I
said
start
in
digging?
this video is that when I don't like it when the devs are above the investors. So I said Ethereum is like an extreme example where Vitalik is like the god and the investors are like the worshipers. So
All
I
right.
want to reverse that. So I said, if you're an investor in Bitcoin, you should think of yourself as being like Yahweh and the developers as the chosen people.
All right. Um,
And I ended it where I said that if what I think what's been happening recently is like this people are building the Tower of Babel. So you should want to smash it, just like in the Bible.
all right. Well, I disagree entirely with almost every single thing that you said, except for the part where you said that Bitcoin forks are better than altcoins. They might be. So that part I might be okay with, but everything else I think is terribly wrong. So first, I'll let. I guess I'll just summarize, and then we'll dive down each one. We've measured the value of each social class regarding developer versus investor and presupposed that they're separate. That's fine. I don't mind the presupposition. I guess I'll attack that one first. If the devs decide to push a malicious update that steals all your keys, I don't think much users would catch it in time. So I think the fact that users are able to use these systems at all is at the kindness of the devs. And I think that if devs wanted to start stealing coins left and right and become malicious instead of nice guys, there'd be a whole lot of these Bitcoin investors, which you wanted to refer to as deity like, that would be out of cash because they don't have the technical expertise, nor time, nor inclination, or awareness to audit a wallet, nor audit it every time a patch is released. So, from a security perspective, every user is at the mercy of the devs that he chooses. And furthermore, when you have a new fork, every new fork means a new client. And every new client means a new place that a malicious actor could steal your keys.
Okay,
And so it gives,
wait a minute. I need to disagree with what you said about every fork needs a new client. Because what I would like to happen is next time investors disagree about where they want Bitcoin to go, the developers should make a fork and support both. So there should be one client that supports both forks with one developer team. Then the
any
investors choose. You don't
any
need a
time
different client for each fork.
you do need a different client for each fork because the game theory that made people fork in the first place causes them to want you to use a different client as well because they want to maximize control.
Why?
Well, just pure timing and or animosity. So why would someone that's ruining? So let me give you an example, right? So first I'll state that in an ideal world, maybe what you're describing could possibly happen, but we've never seen it in any other industry ever at all, ever. Okay. Your peripherals that you use on your Apple device don't work on any other device on purpose. The peripherals that you use for your car, right? The buttons and switches and rims and every single part in that car is made to be inoperable with other parts. Every
Okay,
single
wait a minute. If Bitcoin forks, all of the investors automatically own both chains, right?
yeah,
So what?
that has nothing to do with client software. Nothing.
Well, it does because the investors want the invest from the investor standpoint, there is not a conflict here. Like Bitcoin Core and Bitcoin Cash are basically, two sides of the same coin,
No,
you know?
they have nearly nothing in common. So
I disagree from an investor perspective. Like if you are going to own both, you should want both of them to cooperate to the extent that it's good for investors.
I am
But they
pro
should also
investor.
fight. They should also have conflict to the extent that's good for investors. So they should be partly cooperative and partly in conflict. They shouldn't be entirely either, because that's what's best for investors.
Yeah. So that let's back up, right? So do you agree that wallet software and the inability for users to audit it is a giant security risk for all users, and that the system is actually trustful and you must trust your developers? Can we agree that?
Yes.
Okay. So, and just even though we agree on that, so that the public agrees here, I will tell you that the Electron Cash wallet, which was a fork of the Electrum wallet in the Bitcoin ecosystem, overwrites your Electron install when you run it. That's malicious. Okay. So there's your fantasy of how things could be one day. And then there's the reality of how things work now.
Right.
And how things
Yes.
work now is that this fork has stolen hash rate, made the network less secure.
Okay, wait, I disagree with that. I disagree with that. No, I disagree with something. I don't think that Bitcoin is more secure if the hash rate is higher.
Well, why do we bother hashing at all?
Because
why don't we just run it on a single laptop?
The hash rate is for consensus.
No.
Yes.
Not at all.
It is for avoiding double spends.
No, it is not. It is not for that. It is go on Wikipedia, go on mating signaling. The signals that cannot be faked are the signals that are most expensive.
Well, I've written an article about this. Some deer have big antlers and some deer have little antlers, okay?
Yes.
So you don't always need the hash rate to be high.
Lots of animals can survive with suboptimal signaling strategies. My point is that if you want to be able to trust a signal, it needs to be expensive. And the most expensive signals are purely wasteful. And
yes.
so pure waste.
I agree. I totally agree with all that.
Okay. So, I mean, you've made an extreme statement in that proof of work does not require work. That's your statement.
No, that is not my statement. My statement is that Bitcoin, that it's not related to security. It's about consensus. So I don't think it's better if the hash rate is higher.
You're wrong. Okay. I mean, I could explain to you situations to try and get you to understand that you're wrong. You run the Bitcoin network on your laptop. You're the entirety of the hash rate. I decide that I want to start double spend attacking. I run a bigger laptop than you. Now I have the longer chain. Now you don't get to be the Bitcoin network anymore.
Right.
That's obvious, right?
Yeah.
Now,
if the hash rate is lower, that just means there are fewer people trying to run a 51% attack.
So I just described to you a situation where I could steal money and make the network useless by having more hash rate than you.
Yeah. So if you want to do that,
right?
then the hash rate goes up. The hash rate goes up if more people want to do a 51% attack. But if fewer people want to do a 51% attack, then the hash rate goes down. It just depends on how many people are trying to do a 51% attack.
The reason we have the hash rate we have now has nothing to do with 51% attacks and everything to do with the financial block reward. Like
everything. Sorry, I missed what you said. Everything to do with what?
Dude, I can't believe you're gaming during this interview. Less gaming. I assure you that what I'm saying is smart enough.
Sorry, yeah, it's a good point. I'll stop. Yeah. I'm addicted to Peggle.
Okay. I used to be addicted to games too. I made a YouTube video on it. You should check it out. I described to you a situation where I can make the network stop being useful by having more hash rate and using it for evil. You then said that hash rate is driven up by more people wanting to do 51% attacks. That does not mirror reality. The majority of the hash rate that exists currently is because the coins that are issued as a block reward have great financial value.
Right.
So the reason we have so much hash rate isn't because people want to 51% attack. They very rarely occur. It's because people want the block reward.
Yeah, but I mean, from the perspective of somebody, looking out in the network, like it's mining is anonymous, right? Like,
no, it is not anonymous.
You can mine anonymously. I mean, you can voluntarily reveal who you are.
not without great effort. You can network analyze where transactions are seen first. As long as you have enough honeypots and eyeballs on the network, you can tell where transactions are coming from, and you can blueprint the language and type of bits that they're including with the transactions. And you can analyze the type of transaction ordering you're doing. And you can analyze the amount of empty blocks that they're mining. It is a fantasy
Okay.
that mining
But
is
I,
anonymous.
I don't think it makes sense to say that I don't think we can analyze things and say that we know why white people are doing things. Like from my perspective, the hash rate is a certain amount, you know?
Well, I think that if you did some research, you'd find out that hash rates very linearly follow the value of what is being mined. And it's a
No,
very
I
simple
agree. Yeah,
economic
no, I
formula.
agree that that's why they're doing it, is because they want the
Okay.
coins.
So have
But
we got you to understand that hash rate matters yet, or should we stay on it?
hash rate matters.
Okay,
Okay, but it's
great.
not better if the hash rate is higher. Sometimes it's better if it's lower.
Better for what? The environment or your financial security? Because those are your like options. It can't be good for both. If you want it to be good for your financial security, it needs to be very wasteful. If you want it to be not wasteful, it needs to be insecure. Those are your only options.
Okay, but look, let's go back to animals. Okay,
Hmm.
like you can't like maliciously grow antlers. The whole point is to just have the biggest, right? So it's not like one deer is trying to perform a 51% attack and another one isn't.
So let's, without getting too far into the weeds, my thesis is that hard forks are bad for the following reasons. One, they split developers across projects where work gets duplicated instead of more developers working on a single project where they could be assigned into different verticals. It's the replication of work. It is the reason that bounty systems are so terrible. A bounty system means 8 idiots have to do the same bad job, and then the one that sucked the least gets chosen, maybe, if anyone decides to even engage in it. It's a much superior path to not do bounties and have an intelligent person choose a proven and effective counterparty and licensed, bonded. If they don't hit time constraints, you move on. Or you could do it with a quorum. You could have 2 or 3 people, but not 10, right? So separating your developers across projects is bad. Creating a Wix template website with one dev, maybe 1.25 devs, stealing 30 to 40% of the hash rate from another project is terrible. It is the ability to remove half of the security